When we think of RPGs, we instantly think of many great titles. With the boundless expanse of a digital frontier, RPG games unfold like the sprawling tapestries, offering an unparalleled journey through the realms where imagination meets interactivity. The beauty lies in not just graphics and mechanics, but in the boundless possibilities and immersive experiences that the RPGs generously bestow. And one of those obvious titles that resonates the most has to be the very Witcher series. Designed and created by CD Projekt Red, which brought us this game with sprawling fantasy that kept us indulged and intrigued to the legend behind the Witchers. And according to the developers at CD Projekt Red, confirms it won't be using AI to replace its developments. The Witcher 4 is set to be in production phase during 2024, with the plans for 400 developers to be working on the game by the summer. Speaking to Forbes, CD Projekt Red CEO Adam Badowski said that we'd like to have around 400 people working on the project by the middle of the year. While not officially titled The Witcher 4 yet, CD Projekt Red confirmed that the existence of the project's codename Polaris back in October 2022. Since then, there has been minimal updates on the game, for the developer did not confirm, through quotation, that the largest part of its team was working on Polaris back in November. That suggests that the increasing numbers of CD Projekt Red's employees are moving away now from Cyberpunk 2077, and finally onto the beloved title, to Witcher 4. This lines up with the both CD Projekt Red's investor reports and the fact that the work on its sci-fi RGP is largely expected to be winding down after the release of its acclaimed Phantom Liberty expansion late last year. Everybody's aware of the controversy surrounding Cyberpunk and its demise within the fact that it came out quite broken, that ever since a few releases and patches, the game is running within its glory. While the studio seems to be scaling up its efforts on The Witcher 4, Badowski's CEO Michael Nakowski stated that while it looked at the potential use of AI in its development pipeline, any work used will not be visible to players. To quote Mikhail Nowalski, "We think that AI is something that can help improve certain process in game production, but not replace people." End quote. Elsewhere, Badowski reaffirmed the suggestion that the team has learned its lessons from the difficult 2020 release of Cyberpunk 2077, a message that has been oft repeated since CD Projekt began the process of reversing the game's initial poor reception. The Witcher 4 is the first entry in the entire new trilogy, but that's just one aspect of the swath of up-and-coming CD Projekt Red games expected in the coming years. Those include a Cyberpunk 2077 sequel and multiple Witcher spin-offs. There's no release date yet confirmed for the new Witcher saga, but CD Projekt Red has suggested that once the first game launches, the other two planned games in the trilogy will release within 6 years. A great deal of speculation has been going around within the Witcher community to talk about the new picture that was released and teased by CD Projekt Red, which is the noticeable medallion in which Witchers use and carry in their profession to demonstrate what school and class they are with. Of course, within the picture, we see that it's a lynx, which is now being cleared up as being confirmed by CD Projekt Red. It is a lynx. But that doesn't end the speculation, however quite the opposite. There is no Lynx School in the official canon of books and games. Geralt himself comes from the Wolf School. The only mention of a Lynx School is in fan fiction. This in turn apparently indicates that the new Witcher title is at least turning away from Geralt, which would be logical because basically his saga was largely told to the end in the third part. So what's next? Will Ciri become the main character? Is CD Projekt Red coming up with something completely new? When will the new title take place before or after The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt? Can we even make our own Witcher in the new game? Questions upon questions that will probably remain unanswered for quite a while, because apart from an announcement that the new Witcher game is coming, namely for the Unreal Engine 5, CD Projekt Red has not released much information about Witcher 4. Whilst the good news is that we now know that it's in development within 2024 this year, there's going to be a great deal of things that we shall expect within Witcher 4 that is going to improve and expand to arguably one of the best fantasy RPG games of all time. One thing that I'm sure we can all massively agree on, the fact that Geralt may not be making an appearance, which is definitely most likely, is going to be quite disappointing given on how charismatic and how iconic the enigma is behind the legend of The Witcher. Altogether, as far as I'm aware, there is 8 Witcher schools, all with their different specialities and classes. Throughout the majority of the Witcher games, James, where it used to be at Kaer Morhen, learning the ways of the wolf, the School of the Wolf along with the other schools originated as a result of the disintegration of the original Order of Witches. When the school was still ripe with valiant witchers, they settled in the valley of Kaer Morhen. Kaer Morhen is a fortress that we all know, originally constructed and abandoned in the 11th century surrounded by a network of caves. Brilliance of Witcher is the very fact that it tells us a great tale and story behind these fascinating schools, one that it will expand on, no doubt, about the School of Lynx, which no doubt, just like Kaer Morhen, shall have some interesting history and background for us to dive into the deeper lore of this game. The absence of the School of the Lynx is noticeable. What many may not know is the School of the Lynx came close to entering the canon. There was reportedly concept art, even items created for it in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which still contains references to the School of the Lynx in item codes. Those items all belong to the School of the Cat, which ultimately replaced plans for the Lynx School. The interesting thing about these schools is they all live by certain codes and are renowned for their different skills. For example, the School of the Cat is the most hated and feared Witcher school, so this leaves us questions more than it does answers. What is it that the Lynx School will have to offer, and what part of its lore does it take place within inside this world of The Witcher? Are they hated, feared? Are they renowned for being heroes? Perhaps maybe they're more of a shadowy organization, hence why they're not mentioned and referenced a great deal within The Witcher lore. There's no doubt that it's an interesting idea that the new protagonist perhaps may be something that we get to design and create to feel more connected to the character. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is renowned for its breathtaking and diverse open world locations, each crafted with meticulous detail and a sense of atmospheric beauty. And of course we have Novigrad, the Skellige Isles, the White Orchid, Velen, Kaer Morhen, the Painted World of Toussaint, the Whispering Hillcock, Oxenfurt, all these places that really shape Witcher to be a beautiful, yet desolate and dangerous and vibrant landscape. Shrouded in mystery and conquest and rulers and kings and queens, malevolent beings, and all one things that people can imagine that comes with such a brilliant, fantastic fantasy game. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is lauded as one of the best games in recent years. Its narrative as well as its long list of interesting side quests have been praised by many in the gaming community. However, the game does have its downsides. One involves the title's sprawling open world map. This seems to be something a lot of players agree with. The Witcher 3 game is littered with points of interest. Some lead to hidden treasures, others to Monster's Nest, while some even trigger new quest lines. But some players have expressed that the game's points of interest aren't all that interesting, at least not all of them. This is an issue that should be taken into account for The Witcher 4, the up-and-coming start to the new Witcher saga. For CD Projekt's Red 20th anniversary, the company held a livestream with Philip Weber, who was a junior quest designer while The Witcher 3 was still in development. At around the 8:30-minute mark, Weber reveals that he is one of the people who integrated question marks on the map of Witcher 3, and many of them were those as, quote, terrible as he describes them, smuggler caches. He then goes on to say that marking those loot caches was a mistake, agreeing that it overpopulated the game's map. Perhaps the answer to improving The Witcher's map and an open world is a mix of downsizing and quality control. Instead of incorporating multiple points of interest with straightforward designs like the Smuggler's Caches or Monster's Nest, it might be better to input just one with more to explore and a story to uncover. A good example of this is the Vicky Watchtower from The Witcher 3's Hearts of Stone expansion, which featured the somewhat humorous treasure hunt quest known as the Royal Air Force. That's not to say that the random loot cache should be removed from the game entirely. Weber actually talks about The Witcher's free team original idea for the Smuggler's Caches. In the anniversary livestream, it is revealed that these caches were never meant to be marked on the map. Instead, the development planned to make seagulls circle around the cache, and curious players would be rewarded if they chose to investigate the area. And that honestly sounds better than what was implemented. It would also help to make the traversal varied and less tedious for players. This is an issue that very much is apparent in The Witcher 3 Skellige Isles, as many of the points of interest are far out at the sea. The inclusion of the harbor's fast travel points helps somewhat, but it doesn't make sailing out to the middle of the ocean any less dull. Perhaps including a faster option for traveling by boat would help. Alternatively, the developer could simply remove all the far-flung water-bound points of interest altogether. Although, to be honest with you, that's what makes the Skellige Isles quite endearing and fascinating. The Witcher 4 could introduce players to a completely new side of Witcher universe. Hopefully that includes more optimized map and better exploration. Incorporating these worlds would undoubtedly make The Witcher 4 a step up from its predecessors. Brilliance within the Witcher games, as well as we're all aware, is the dialogue options and how it impacts the entire story. Something we definitely want to see more of within Witcher 4, because that is something that it really excelled in. I don't know about you, but I instantly fell in love with Witcher when I first ever played this game. The soundtrack, the characters, you instantly fell in love. This Slavic mythology created by the Polish author Andrzej Pasowski. The books that created these Witcher games to begin with the landmass in the continent which is inspired by medieval in Europe and other regions of the world. The continent has many kingdoms, cultures, races, creatures, some of which are based on real historical or mythological figures. It's really going to be overwhelming to see what Witcher 4 will deliver for us when it eventually arrives. One thing that I'm sure for certain is that we're all excited to find out what it has to offer. Because truth be told guys, I played many RPGs, and when I first laid my hands on Witcher, I instantly put it there as being my number one. I'm sure you guys can agree that there is many games out there that have a certain feel about them, something you can't describe, and that is exactly what Witcher gives me when I put the game on and instantly fall into a different realm and forget all about my troubles. Instantly driven by the instincts for the need to explore and uncover what the world has to offer. If one thing is for certain guys, Witcher 4 is going to bring us something that is unseen before. Guys, I am the Voice Box, and yes, I'm not the biggest Witcher channel out there, but when The Witcher 4 does arrive, I am planning on making this into a full thing where I will be uncovering all the lores into the characters and breaking down all the equipments and items. So consider subscribing if you want to follow me on this conquest and journey. Anyway guys, until then, out there on your journeys, avoid any of the drowners. Make sure you keep yourself alive until this game arrives, because you'll be needing to suit up and boot up to join your new journey within the Lynx School to carry out what can only imagine will be an amazing conquest to uncover a new story. Good news is this game is in development this year, which gives us plenty of time to have many games of Gwent and keep ourselves busy until the day that it's on our screens. Well, I'm the Voice Box guys. Thank you for watching, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.